Okay, good morning everybody. We are heading on into work today. I always like to let the RPMs drop. That's my little warm up. And then when I take off, guys, I'm taking it as slow as I can. But it's 56 degrees outside. It's gonna get an oil change soon again. And that's something I want to talk about a little bit on the way in today. But I'll fast forward to some driving as I jam. So the other day I had someone ask me, Kevin, it seems like you're always changing the oil on one of your cars, and you just did this one maybe about a month ago. So I simply responded to him, it's just time. It's time to change the oil, and that's something that is often overlooked, especially on more modern cars. Like this car, low tension piston rings, the ringlets are really thin, they're really small, and when you go out and have 6-month oil, whether it's, not driven much on or it is, that plays a role just as much as how many miles are on it, right? I get some people, I do 20,000 miles in between oil changes every 6 months. Well, that oil doesn't have the same protection properties at mile 7,500, 10,000, 12,500, 15,000 than it does at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. And for me, I stick by the 3,000 3-month rule. I know that's dated. I understand all of that. But you know what, guys? It's what makes me feel good. And I'll give you a little bit of insight more of why I feel that way. There are great channels like Luke the Motor Oil Geek, hits it on the head. It's all about the quality. It's all about when the wear is happening. I'm not going to get down that rabbit hole, but the rabbit hole I'm already in is motor oil. So it has something called viscosity index improvers that help it flow when it's cold, and then it has other properties for high temp and high shear scenarios when your car is operating temperature. Long story short, the reason I like to keep it gentle on the warm-ups, and I try to keep it relatively low load, and I say try and keep yada 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 because it's not a manual. My Accord, it's a manual, and no problems with it. Automatic, sometimes the gearing's a little bit different. It's an 8-speed as well. So as we get above all that, the biggest problem that I have is I don't want to keep old oil in any part of the system. This car has an oil cooler. The oil lines are kind of routed everywhere. When you drain that oil, I'm not draining 100% of all the oil that's in my quote-unquote system. And that's where I get caught up. Because say you drain 80% of it, and on this Volvo, I've determined that I can drain, I had an extra spare engine of the T6 from an XC90, supercharger went bad and I was trying to pull some parts off. I drained over 2.5 quarts of oil out of, I feel bad because I was supposed to let that person go and I'm sitting here chatting away. Well, I drained over 2.5 quarts of oil in it, and I asked the shop, did you overfill it? What are we looking at here? And nope, no overfill, it's just how they come. Oil pan was bone dry. I let that sit for probably a good week. Just in the shop, in the corner. So that tells me, the cylinder head had a lot of oil galleys. You turn it up one way, you drain some. You turn it back down, you drain some more. And you do that back and forth a couple times, you end up with a massive puddle, asking myself, where the fuck did all this oil come from? So, on this car, it holds a lot that I intrinsically just can't, it doesn't get to the oil pan. It's hung up in galleys and pathways throughout the block, the cylinder head, the lines, the oil cooler, and so on, that I'm not really doing an oil change like your mind thinks. Okay, so let me just paint this picture for you for a second. An oil change, if you have, say, for simplicity's sake, we'll keep it like most cars, 5 quarts. Say I only drained 4 quarts. That means there's a whole quart left inside. Well, when I pour that new 4 quarts in to meet that 5 that I, make up for what I just drained, it is going to mix with some terrible oil. And if it's 20,000 miles, your entire 4 quarts is pretty bad oil, I would say. And think of it this way. Would you take that 4 quarts of oil, have one nasty quart of oil, and just pour it in and say, ooh, let me go throw this in my engine? I know I wouldn't. And I know for a lot of people that would see something like that, you definitely wouldn't. But that's essentially what's happening. And the most realistic way for me to prevent it, just change the oil a little bit more often. It's cheap insurance for me. I'm a sick person that finds some of this car maintenance stuff fun. I love turning wrenches. It's not the most glamorous thing, but you know what? It makes me happy. It makes the mechanical engineer inside me happy. And I just think it's fun. But let me know in the comments what type of oil you buy, whether it's 0W20, 5W30, 5W40, and how often you change it. Or, do you not even know? Do you let the dealer handle it? Another aspect I want to talk about is the type of oil. Some people are brand loyalists, and there's nothing wrong with that until there is. And hear me out. I like to switch the brands of oil, meaning I'll go Castrol one change, Mobil the next, Valvoline the next, Pennzoil the next. Although I never really end up going with every different brand, every single other oil change. I'm okay with switching it up because different brands have different chemistries. And the way I look at it is, it's like a diet. Okay, imagine what you eat today is going to be what you eat for the rest of your life. Probably won't eat the same thing, or you won't live a really long life. Or you extremely are happy with it, but you may inherently develop some deficiencies that just aren't in your diet. I know few people who eat 100% of what they need to every single day. Vitamins, minerals, your carotenoid foods, your proteins, your fats, good and bad. I mean, that's a lot of food for the normal person, and typically what I'm saying is, I know my lifestyle doesn't support it, and most other people's may not either. But back to the oil, right? It's got different chemistries of viscosity index improvers, cleaning agents, meaning inside your oil there's things like potassium, molybdenum, zinc, and the list goes on. I can put a list up. But inside these oils, these combinations of chemicals exist, or I should say chemistries, exist to some degree. And they vary. That's what makes it Quaker's best secret sauce, and Mobil's best secret sauce, and Kevin's best secret sauce, and so on. Everyone's got their own formulation and they claim it to be the best. Well, I never believe the claims until I see them, and I will say one claim that I've been proven wrong in 20 plus years of this: the Valvoline Restore and Protect.